Good morning. We're going to try that again. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, world. You're now locked into the frequency of empowerment, the frequency of change from the heart of Chicago to the four corners of the globe. This is Amir Shakur Speaks, and I'm your host. And this morning, we're breaking down, like we normally do, the news cycle and what's going on. What's going on? So, if you're just joining us, you know how we do. I have to do the house rules. I'm your host, Amir King 7 Shakur. Not Amir. And today we're not just talking about the news, we're taking the news to a whole nother level. We're talking about what it is, the information that you need to drill it down, staying woke, staying probably keeping our eyes wide open. Motivated this morning, all right? All right, so again, if you're listening to Amir Shakur Speaks, the morning show, and if you haven't, you know what we say: like, subscribe, share, follow. That's what we do. Go into the Amir Shakur Speaks broadcast channel on YouTube, and then you can speak up, stand up and speak out. Your voice matters. All right. So again, now we're here, and I'm your host for the show, and we're going to get right back into the news cycle this morning. And basically, our news today is about someone we know and love so very much. Again, it's the national cycle that's been going on. It's the never-ending story that keeps ending. And by the way, before we get into our deep dive, we're coming to you from the heart of the city in the ABS studio, Chicago 1B this morning powered by Amir Shakur Speaks News, right? Amir Shakur Speaks News, and that's how we get down. Oh, guess what? Guess who you're rocking with, right? No filters, no scripts, just the truth. You're rocking with the sharpest mind in urban media, the sharpest mind in the morning, Amir Shakur Speaks. All right. So today, let's look at the headlines that you might have missed while you were asleep, and we're gonna get right into it. So, listen, guys, is there any truth behind the viral claim that General Dan Kane blocked Trump's nuclear codes? The nuclear codes, the nuclear codes, the codes that would stop the world from being intermittently blown up because Mr. Trump has his hands on the button, that button. Not a good thing, right? Well, yet reports in there are steadily going and circulating, moving. A lot of different pundits are talking about it, saying that there's a skirmish between the Pentagon officials led by the self-picked head of the military, General Dan Kane, or Raising Kane, and it says he physically blocked Donald Trump from launching a nuclear strike on Iran. And the actual confirmation is not an actual confirmation, but the growing reports are circulating. So let's do a deep dive and let's see if this is actually true and what the truth is. Well, so here's a little bit of the backstory, just so you guys would know. The actual nuclear command and control systems, the U.S. nuclear command systems, is designed for speed and clarity, rooted in principle of civilian control of the military. So it's not a system that the military actually administers, but it's a civilian-led function with scientists and technical folks who kind of helm, from a non-biased standpoint, they helm the systems that will launch the nuclear weaponry. And the systems, while the system's exact operational details remain classified for security reasons, the foundational framework is very well documented. So here's the thing. I want you guys to understand this, and we're gonna drill this report down. The sole presidential authority, did you hear me? The sole presidential authority under the current or prior existing policies is that the president possesses the exclusive and sole authority to authorize the use of nuclear weapons. This is an extension of their constitutional role as commander-in-chief. Now, the football, right? Someone said, hey, what's the football? Well, the nuclear football or the biscuit is what they're calling it. And guess what it is? It's a suitcase, right? It's a suitcase. and the president is always accompanied by and carrying aid with the football. It's the emergency satchel, which provides communication options for nuclear response, or the biscuit. The biscuit is the card that the president carries to verify their identity to the nuclear command center. So you have two things: you have the football and you have the biscuit, satchel and the biscuit. So let me show you guys. You want to see what that satchel looks like? Say, Amir, I want to see what the nuclear football looks like. Well, here's what it looks like. Let's give you a big shot of it. So that right there, folks, is the nuclear football, and that is what is used that if in the event of a nuclear war, it's always with the president and his aides, and he can launch it from those two satchels right there, right? So if the president launches an order and is transmitted to NCC, which is the U.S. Strategic Command, STRATCOM, military personnel are obligated to execute legal orders. So here's another look at the football. So here's the president and here's the military football. And again, what that nuclear football is, or it's not military, but it is military, but it's called the nuclear football is what they're calling it, is in an event of a international uproar, the president can launch the weaponry and the commands, the communication options for nuclear response with that particular satchel right there. Scary thought of it being in the hands of Mr. Trump. Is that correct? How do you guys feel about that? So the question of the hour, if you're just joining us, is whether the military generals, his actually handpicked head of the military, General Dan Kane, Raising Kane, blocked Trump from using the nuclear codes recently in Iran. Well, pundits seem to think that there is truth with that. And I think that it is going to, I think it's going to be a question mark whether there was a skirmish, and I believe that there was a skirmish because, as you can remember, Mr. Trump, or President Trump, or Taco, or whatever you want to call him, had recently stated that he was going to wipe Iran off the face of the earth, or off of civilization, or whatever the correct terminology is. I'm losing track because it's a different crazy thing every day. But anyway, so let's talk about it. Let's drill it down. And listen, if you guys want to come into the chat room, you can come on Amir Shakur Speaks broadcast, and your voice matters. And here's the thing. Also, Canada, the UK, and Al Jazeera folks, we want to hear from you guys, as well as some of our national folks who, just care. So your voice matters. Stand up and speak out. The legality of illegal orders. There is a long-standing debate whether legal and military experts regarding the obligation of military officers to follow and obey orders which they believe are illegal, such as the one that violates laws of war, i.e., overproportion or military overexpansion, say like what's going on right now in Iran. While the officers are trained to follow orders, they are also sworn to uphold the Constitution and refuse unlawful orders. Not only are they trained to uphold the Constitution, but the National Convention, which is what? The Geneva Convention. It requires a complex but established process of consultation, not a scenario where military leaders personally hold and take codes from the president. So there are geopolitical tensions in the United States and Iran, and there has been a lot of back and forth with Donald Trump and intense standoffs because of this unnecessary escalation in the region. But the question is that did the military Pentagon, the military leadership, which is the Pentagon, stop Mr. Trump from doing a lot of the things that he was doing, especially the campaign in Iran? And the truth of the matter is, yes, he was called by the military leadership after a military cleansing by Secretary General Heck Smith. And the confirmed reports is that they told the president, saying that some of his moves in the campaigns in Iran were basically violations of the Geneva Convention and their obligations to the Constitution of the United States, and that they would not be participating in any order that they deem would be against their obligation to serve and protect. It's the feud viewed by the military as a significant departure from restrained diplomatic clashes between the president and others, the president and the military. Well, we haven't seen anything like this in modern history. So this would be maybe a first. Maybe there have been smaller level ones which are non-public, but this particular juncture and this particular section of time frame in American history, I should say, is unprecedented. You are looking at a military who is growingly suspect of the president's mental health. You are looking at right now we're experiencing a president who's disparaging comments and emphasizing things that are unheard of, like wiping whole civilizations off the face of the earth. It's unprecedented times that we live in, and there is no actually confirmed or credible evidence of an actual conflict or debate between the President Trump and the military generals regarding possession or use of the nuclear codes. But what we are being told is that the Pentagon officials are moving in stealth and asking the president to stand down and that they would take the helm, which is another really rare and unusual situation. I definitely want to pull up a video if you guys would stand by, and it would highlight a little bit. A video clip would highlight a little bit about the nuclear codes and what's going on. So bear with us while we're pulling that together. And if you want to follow the show, like the show, if you're from Al Jazeera or the UK or anywhere around the world, we definitely love to hear what you guys have to say. But let's look at the confirmed reports, or any, for lack thereof, if the military generals have said to Mr. Trump, the president, regarding possession or use of the nuclear codes, or reports suggesting a walkout or a confrontation over the nuclear order, which is widely considered misinformation. Experts in the military analysts note that these claims are not true, but there is a merit of truth to whereas the military officials did raise concerns about the current policies and protocols of Secretary Smith and President Trump, and they have seemingly made a decision to put an oversight over the president of the United States, which is totally unprecedented. Let's pull up the video. I think we have that now, and let's let that kind of give us a further narrative of this issue.
Hi, Vedika. You're going to be talking to us about some allegations that have surfaced online, alleging that Donald Trump has been blocked from using nuclear codes against Iran. Talk us through what is circulating.
Well, Sharon, former CIA analyst Larry Johnson alleged on a podcast this week that Donald Trump wanted to use the nuclear codes against Iran, but that he was blocked from doing so by General Dan Kane, the chairman of his Joint Chiefs of Staff. So let's take a listen now directly to those claims that we heard in this podcast this week.
They had an emergency meeting Saturday night. And apparently, one report coming out of that meeting at the White House is that Trump wanted to use the nuclear codes, and General Dan Kane stood up and said no. He invoked his privilege as the head of the military, so to speak. It was apparently quite a blow up. There are pictures of Kane coming out of that meeting with his head down to the ground.
So as we heard there, he described that interaction as quite the blow up, and he went on to say that there's some very bizarre things going on in DC. Now, this all comes as concern has mounted over Donald Trump's unpredictable behavior and conduct, both in public speeches and also online with the images that he's been sharing. We've all seen the AI images he posted depicting himself as Jesus. We've been covering a lot of those incidents here on Truth or Fake. But lawmakers, recently some even in Trump's own party, have been vocal, Sharon, in their doubt that Trump is fit to serve due to this erratic behavior.
And Vedika, is there actually any truth to these allegations? What exactly do we know?
Well, CNN reported that Dan Kane, Pete Hegseth, and other top US officials were pictured arriving at the White House on Saturday, 18th April, the date that Larry Johnson claimed this meeting took place in that podcast. Also in that podcast, as we heard there, he claimed there was images of General Kane leaving the White House, storming out, head down to the ground. And this is the image that was shared in that podcast. However, this idea of that Kane stood his ground does clash with the reality of the command chain. Kane is an advisor, he's not a commander, and technically nobody has the authority to overrule the president's decision. So that does make it difficult to verify this claim, as there are no credible reports to back up the allegations made by Larry Johnson. In fact, even himself, he has posted since then on his blog saying that he has no confirmation that the report is verified. But what has been reported is that there has been some conflicting ideas between General Dan Kane and Donald Trump. In February, Trump took to Truth Social to say that in Dan Kane's opinion, if the US was to strike Iran, it was Dan Kane's opinion that it would be something easily won. But that's not what Dan Kane allegedly told Trump at the time, according to the Washington Post. According to its sources, Kane had in fact cautioned the US president about attacking Iran. He had expressed his concerns about the scale of the campaign and potential US casualties, shortfalls in munitions, etc. The New York Times has also reported about Dan Kane's muddled responses about Trump's threats to Iran, particularly that one about wiping out an entire civilization, saying that despite being Trump's top military advisor, Kane has struggled to answer questions about the president's war rhetoric. Now, there's also been reports that Trump was in fact intentionally excluded from the Situation Room during the recent critical operation in Iran to rescue US airmen there. According to the Wall Street Journal, Trump was in such a volatile state that, I quote, he spent hours screaming at aides in the West Wing. Military officials made the call to limit his access and update him only when needed on the phone. So whilst we don't have proof of verified nuclear strike intent, there does seem to be a gap here between the US president's rhetoric and the stance taken by his Joint Chiefs of Staff. And I think that's really what has fanned the flames of this story, Sharon.
Vedika, thanks so much for that.
So if you're just joining, what we're talking about is was President Trump generally stopped from a nuclear strike in Iran, and we're getting reports that there is a merit of truth to this claim. Not to say that he was stopped from the nuclear codes or having the nuclear codes as a commander-in-chief, he would be able to have access to that. But I believe that as we speak, the generals on the ground have put a military emphasis on oversight with the president due to rising concerns of his mental health, his mental stability, and experts saying that, while the claims are not true that, he's being stopped from using the nuclear codes, there is a growing level of military concern from the leadership, and military oversight procedures are being discussed. The other claim that we know to be true is that there was a meeting, which is a former CIA representative who had access or is saying that he had access, has said that President Trump was kept out of the Situation Room in routine communication with the military procedure and emergency action recently. And those things are routine for the president to be involved at his purview as the commander-in-chief. But during this period of heightened geopolitical tension, such as we're currently seeing in the Middle East, there's a lot of unconventional communications that are coming from the president. And these are misinterpreted by folks around the world, including our allies and leadership in other countries, and locally saying that, the president is he's spiraling downwards. So it's keeping the military generals at bay. And the question of the hour, if you're just joining us, is whether he's being withheld from the nuclear codes. And I think that there is a level of truth to this. But again, we're deep diving and we're talking about the viral speculation, and I think it's a half truth. This is a high stakes information environment, and verified claims or unverified claims also can spread rapidly on social media. A lot of them propagated by Mr. Trump himself. Is there truth that there was a recent meeting and the military leadership had said, hey, we need to stop the carnage and a lot of these actions are unnecessary? It urged Mr. Trump to take a wiser, more secure strategic role with this campaign in the Middle East. Did that happen? Question is, these are being confirmed as true. What's not being confirmed as true is the viral claim that Dan Kane blocked Trump's nuclear codes. Don't know if he can do that, but what he could have done is suggested very clearly that he thought, and which is what he did, that the military campaign was unnecessary. So if you're just joining us and you want to join our VIPs in the chat room, let's talk about it. Give your opinion. This is unprecedented. Yes, it is unprecedented, like we said. Very concerning. He needs to be blocked. Yeah, he does need to be blocked, and he does need oversight. Taco is mentally unstable to make any decisions, Taco being President Trump. Taco is short for Trump always chickens out. Taco is mentally unstable to make any decisions, period. He is the worst president I've ever seen and does things based upon his emotions, and which shows he is very unstable. Well, not only do you agree with that, I believe the military agrees with that. And, henceforth, you are seeing a level of oversight with things like, again, we show this right here. And what you see is, let me give you another shot of that. That's the nuclear football. So if there was ever a international war and it required Mr. Trump to react as the commander-in-chief, then he would be able to give STRICOM, which is the Strategic Communications Center, I believe it's in Virginia, the rules to go ahead and launch a nuclear war. That is what that is, or to protect the United States. But there's not a lot of information about that, so we want to be careful about spreading misinformation. So, the truth behind the viral claim that General Kane blocked Trump's nuclear codes probably is a half-truth. Is the military and U.S. consumers and consumers around the United States, are they growing concern about the rapidly spreading negligence of the President of the United States? And is the social media often mixing real world tensions with fictionalized scenarios? Yes, that's true. The nuclear football or military mutiny, understanding of the chain of command would help put these things in a context. To help establish this thing, let's remember the sole authority under the U.S. law. The president maintains the sole authority to authorize nuclear weapons. It's the constitutional power associated with the commander-in-chief. Let's put that in the context so I think that folks will understand, so we can get away from a lot of the myths. We got to be able to get away from the myths. So remember that. The sole authority under the U.S. laws, the president maintains the sole authority to authorize use of nuclear weapons. This is the constitutional role and power associated with the commander-in-chief. Now, again, did the generals pull Mr. Trump in the Oval Office or the Situation Room? This is the Situation Room where there was a meeting with military leadership, and they asked Mr. Trump to stand down, is what we're being told. Now, did that happen? We can't verify that, but we do believe that the military leadership in their role currently, which is unprecedented, such as the leaders, such as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff or the commander of the U.S. Strategic Command, STRICOM, serves as the president's top military advisors, and their role is to provide the president with the necessary information and options necessary to make decisions, right? So let's highlight that, because I think it's very important to understand that, if they advised the president, they were just simply doing their jobs and saying, hey, this escalation is causing tension that's unnecessary in this geopolitical war in Iran. So here's the thing. The role of military leadership, military leaders such as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which is General Kane, or the military staff of the commander of the U.S. Strategic Command, serve as the president's top military advisors. Their role is to provide the president with information and options necessary to make decisions. So there it is. There we go. And, Taco must get out of that seat. Well, I'm going to suggest this, and let's go back to while we're here. Generally, is it true or fake that the general allegedly stopped Mr. Trump from a nuclear strike? There is a merit of truth to it. Okay, so we are saying that there's a merit of truth because as the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, right? Joint Chiefs of Staff, that is, General Kane would have been in position to say, Mr. President, we think that these are lawful versus unlawful orders. And the central point of discussion among legal and military experts, which often fuels the debate, is there a distinction between lawful and unlawful orders? And military officers are sworn to uphold the Constitution. They are obligated to follow lawful orders, but they're also trained to recognize and refuse orders that are manifestly or grossly unlawful, such as those that violate the laws of war, which we're currently seeing in Iran. So this creates a formal legal framework for constitution and adherence to international law rather than a scenario of taking or refusing the orders of codes. All right? All right. What questions do you have? Where are we at with this? I really want to, as we're pulling back up that military football, I just want to give you guys a glance at that. What questions and what comments do you have? The fool would get the wrong code period, and that is too much power. While I do understand, yeah, I mean, as the president of the United States, he is the elected official and the head of the military. In order of priority, he would be one of two, I believe, three people who would have access to this type of weaponry, right? This military football, which you see this general or this military aide carrying. I don't know if he's a general. I believe he might be, or he's definitely a high-ranking official. Don't know him. And I don't even think he's there anymore, but that's just my opinion. Here's the thing. When your boss gives you an order and he tells you to do a deep dive, he can do one or two things. He can follow your advisement, and they are obligated to follow unlawful orders on the flip side of that. So I can see the military officials saying, hey, Mr. Trump, what you're saying is grossly negligent of the Geneva Convention, and it's negligent of the Constitution of the United States. We have to stand down at this point. I love it. As a prior service member and a prior soldier, I love it. But I would say that, there is a growing concern, which is unprecedented in this time, that Mr. Trump's constitutional power is being grossly misused as the commander-in-chief. And there are concerns about his mental health and mental stability. So we got to look at that as well. And we also have to discuss the rising geopolitical issues that are coming out of Iran. We have to look at these things, and we can't underestimate or put it down or put it to the side, because this escalation has growing scrutiny across the international community and the discussions into the world. And let's not forget about the rising unpopularity of this American president, and his numbers are shrinking downward, and amidst the legal and military battles, which often fuels the public debate, there is a distinction between unlawful and lawful. So the military would have to, they would be obligated as the leadership to refuse any orders which they think that were lawful. Now, have they done that is the question. And we believe, or we have reports that they have done that. They have done that in this campaign in Iran. And yeah, I know he is the commander-in-chief. Let's see while we're, that if we can, while you guys are chiming in, and this is a very important discussion. Are there any instances, or have there been any instances of the president or the military refusing, which is what we're told, refusing Trump's orders? And I believe that we do have information or reports of that. And if we can pull that up before the segment is up, and I will, but I believe that there was known instances of naval generals refusing orders to do military strikes on civilian ships in the Persian Gulf, or the Strait of Hormuz, to be exact. So incidents in April 2026. Yeah. Okay, yeah. So let's pull that up. Reports from the Wall Street Journal and other outlets indicated that in mid-April, military officials oversaw a mission in the Situation Room to rescue U.S. airmen, which in Iranian territory, we know about that, which was a successful operation. Mr. Trump was sidelined, and he was asked to stand down from that. And there have been other verified reports in reference to the said issue, but right now we're there are a lot of debates back and forth about that. All right. So again, what are your concerns? What are your questions? What do you guys think? Do you think that Trump is military stable enough to carry on such an issue? The situation and the escalation inside of the White House in the Situation Room. Trump thrown out of the Situation Room. Is it true or not? We really don't have access to that information. But should it be off limits to Mr. Trump at this point? I mean, most of us would agree that it should be off limits, and we definitely look at that and take it from there. All right. So with that in mind, I definitely would love your feedback, and as we're journeying into other segments of the show, I definitely would like for you to just chime in. It doesn't have to be in this segment that we're doing now, but just in the immediate time frame, just chime in. Please feel free to give us your opinion. All right. With that in mind, we're getting to the part of the show. Which is the one that you love and no one loves so much, and that is a picture can tell 1,000 words, right? A picture can tell 1,000 words, right? And what is that? What do we got today? Well, just so you know, if you have any concerns or any questions, or maybe if you want to show me a picture or a birthday party or something you think is beautiful in your eyesight and you want me to see it, that's what a picture can tell 1,000 words is for. And you can email us at amirshakurspeaks@gmail.com. Look down in the ticker, look down at the bottom, and you'll see that. And we got a different one today. It's not some of the crazier ones that we've seen in the past, but thank you, Barry, for sending this one in. And speaking of your boss telling you to do a deep dive, right? When your boss tells you to do a deep dive into data, this is not exactly what I meant, but forget the standing desk and the fancy ergonomic chairs and the beautiful, lanery and so on and so forth, leather chairs. This is a true frontier of the modern remote worker. This is remote working at its best, right? In the deep end of a public pool. Hey, this guy is smart. He's proven that no deadline is too damp to meet. He's fully immersed in, look at that. He's fully immersed. This is Barry, y'all. Barry's fully immersed in work. He's a hard-working dude that he's on vacation and working at the same time. He's fully immersed in his workflow, quite literally, right? He isn't coming up for air until that spreadsheet is pixel perfect or Google perfect. It's the ultimate power to move for someone who really wants to show that they're making waves, right? He's making waves. Get it? Literally, get it. Making waves. Anyway, in his career. So if it means that his laptop is currently running on nothing but pure ambition and a very high risk of spectacular short circuit, then that's what Barry's doing. And we'll see how that goes. And good luck when you get that laptop out of that water, even though somebody probably said it was waterproof. I don't know, Barry. I wouldn't go there, man. I would keep my laptop under above water, and now that computer is working underwater. Wow. Well, Barry is working underwater as well. Hopefully he's not in trouble with his job because he's trying to, multitask, I guess, at best. And, Even if that means his laptop is working on nothing but pure ambition, like I said, hey, hopefully he doesn't short circuit like either. I'm not talking about the computer, I'm talking about his brain, which it might be short circuiting now. But anyway, Barry, thank you for sending that in. And man, that's interesting. I'd like to know what kind of laptop that is. But if you guys have anything for us, a picture can tell 1,000 words, send that into the Amir Shakur speaks at gmail.com. In the meantime, this military conversation is very interesting, very unique, and we gotta continue drilling that down and really seeing what that's all about. We are in unprecedented times, folks, and we gotta be able to look at these things truly for what they're worth. And at this point in time, right now, this president is definitely in the free fall spiral. So, we'll definitely take it from there. All right. Well, I appreciate y'all, and I love y'all being on the show, and I would thank you. And my segment is over with, but feel free to reach back out to me, Amir Shakur Speaks, and we'll definitely go ahead and look for you guys to be a part of the show tomorrow morning. Let us know what you feel about this military operation that's going on in the Middle East, and definitely would love your input on it and your feelings about it, because right now it's just a cluster. It's a free flow, a free for all, like we've never seen before. So thank y'all, and thank you for being a part of the show, and that's my